So I didn't videotape. I walked down there and I can't keep my fucking mouth shut. And I said something to that sheriff's officer, and I said, "Why in the hell did you pull that family over, bro?" And he said, "None of your business. Get back to what you were doing. Just don't worry about it. Mind your business." And I said, okay. So I walked up and I walked past the van and I said, "Why did he pull you over?" While he was sitting in his car. He got out of his car immediately, saw me talking to them, told me to move along. And I said, "Well, what law says I have to move along, bro?" And he said, he didn't say, He said, "I told you have to move along. This is a lawful order." I said, "Lawful order? You didn't pull me over or anything. Why do you have probable cause to give me a lawful fucking order?" He said, "I don't have to have probable cause to give you a lawful order." I said, "Well, maybe you don't, bro. But I will tell you that if you arrest me or do anything to me right now, and we go to court, you're going to fucking lose. So keep talking your shit, bro. I'm not scared of cops. All right? I don't like cops, especially sheriff's officers. The only time I like them is when I..." Sorry, is when I have an uncontrollable sneezing fit and sneeze 4 times. No, the only time I like them is when I see these videos online. Hello, little kids, and you gotta have loud exhausts that sound like a dirt bike going by. It sounds like shit, bro. It sounds like your car's about to break down. Anyway, yeah, the only time I like sheriff deputies is when I see these videos, especially in Ohio. Because I see them all the time, because I think my algorithm in YouTube, like, it must, and I'm sure people know this already, and I probably didn't know this, but it gives me videos that happen in my area or in my state, whatever. But I see these Ohio deputies. There was a case the other day, and I'm sure, and I know it made national headlines. The cops somehow randomly ended up at this house, and they went inside. There were 16 children in a room that were berry fed, that were shit all over the walls, all kinds of, you hear these fucking stories, man, and it happens, man, and it's terrible, and I feel so bad for the kids. But like, the sheriffs came in there and they weren't fucking around, bro. They put these people on the fucking ground and they took them in, and they just accidentally came across this fucking house. It was just crazy. And it's the Lord's work, bro. It's the Lord's work. I'm not very religious, but that's the Lord's fucking work. The Lord put those cops at that front door that day. Those kids, some of them are in the hospital, but every one of them, they range from 18 months to 18 years old, and they were all crammed in a room, and they weren't fed, and they were all fucking beat. We don't know the full extent of it yet. I have a feeling that they were being raped. I have a feeling that it's a inbred situation too, because it was a grandpa, a grandma, and then a grandson and a granddaughter that lived there. Nobody knew, the hospitals, nobody knew about these kids. Sounds like an incest situation. Which, I used to think that kind of shit just happened in the South, but I'll tell you what, in the last 10 years, I have watched so many videos and read so many news stories about it happening in Ohio. Man, Ohio's got a lot of rural areas, bro, and you would think, people think Ohio is just some fucking rich place. It's not. Ohio is more rural than it is not rural. There's not as many, like, city towns. And, I watched a video the other day. This guy living in a trailer, had 2 kids with his girlfriend. They'd been together 10 years. The police were called, or the emergency was called, because he called the emergency because his wife, or his girlfriend of 10 years, was laying on the ground in the living room. And when the cops got there, she had all kinds of fucking bruises on her, got the shit beat out of her by somebody. The whole time, this guy will not talk to the cops, but instead, because he's in a room, a bedroom with the 2 kids, one was probably 8 years old and the other one was like 10. and he's sitting there coaching them on what to say to the police. He keeps telling the police when they come to talk to him, I don't want to talk to you right now. I haven't been able to call my family or tell anybody about this or any this and that, blah, blah, blah. Cops like heard him say that like 5 times, and then finally they just kicked the fucking bedroom door in and said, listen, you're coming with me, and we're going to talk to these kids separately. And they did. And the kids kept telling them the same shit, like coached bullshit, like, we don't know, we weren't there, mom's had some problems, blah, blah, blah. Well, when the kids got into, you know, psychiatrists that actually deal with this kind of thing, this shit came out. That dude was pummeling that fucking girl every day, beating the fucking hell out of her. Wouldn't let her go anywhere. He was controlling. He thought she was fucking somebody else. Hold on a sec. I'm gonna stop this. Well, no, never mind. There's a squirrel like sitting on the pole right next to me. That was funny. But yeah. So like. Great Escape Fairwater Homes now hiring direct. Yeah, Grape Escape is like some company around here that owns a bunch of property, and they build houses apparently, but they also rent boats on them. Yeah, they're like big. I think they're a big conglomerate around here. I do believe they're privately owned, but they have a lot of buildings. As I walk up and down the streets, I see different buildings that they own. They have like signs that say Grape Escape out of every building. Anyway, I know they have wineries around here and shit. People are all big about wine around here. There's distilleries and stuff. But yeah, so come to find out, guess what? Dude was beating the fucking holy shit out of her all the time. Wouldn't let her leave the house. Wouldn't let her talk to her family. Blah, 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 blah. And, you know, the police are like, this is aggravated assault, you're going to fucking prison, blah, blah, blah. And then guess what happens? This happened literally 2 miles from where I live right now. But it happened in 2024. It's in Ashtabula County, in Ashtabula City. She was in the Cleveland Clinic for about 17 days, then she died. So this became a murder case. And they brought in this guy's best friend for an interrogation. And his best friend said, I know he was beating the hell out of her. He goes, I went in there many times. She'd have a black eye. She'd be bleeding. She would take a throw that was on the couch and completely cover her whole body, including her face, if he walked in the house. And this guy was his best friend, and he would walk in and out of his house a few times a week, you know. And one day he walked in and he was like, you know what, I've had enough of this shit. I'm going to talk to her without him. Well, this guy would not leave him alone with her. He kept saying, oh, I can't have another man in my house around my girlfriend, blah, 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 blah. No, it's because he's trying to control the situation. All right? Well, when this guy went to the police, he had been gathering evidence, and he had dates, times written down, he had pictures. This motherfucker got fucking 2 life sentences in jail. He killed her. And the kids are gone. They're living with family at least. But the thing is the family knew this shit was going on. The grandma, she kept saying, oh, he would never do that. That was his mom. He would never do that, blah, 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 blah. I don't believe this shit. This ain't what's going on. She probably beat herself up. She beat herself to death, bro. When in history have you ever heard of someone beating themselves to death? That's like saying Trump is a fucking good president. God damn, bro. Hello. If you're intelligent at all, just look at what's right in front of your fucking face.